Okay, this week I replaced injectors on 2009 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD with a Duramax in it. The job took me about 14 hours that included my time I had to run to Harbor Freight to get a couple tools to do the job. So, on the driver's side is our cylinders 2, 4, 6, and 8. And to get access to this, I took off these two electrical connectors. I disconnected those, took the bracket that they're sitting on. I removed the boost tube. I took the inner wheel fender. Down here, I took that off. And I disconnected this crossover pipe for the PCV system. Just took that off, and I took this plastic housing off. And then after that, I had pretty good access to the injectors. It's on the high pressure fuel line going to the injector to the fuel rail. There's a 17 millimeter on the injector side and 19 millimeter on the fuel rail side. Each one of these injectors has a electrical connector right here, plus a low pressure bleed off, which feeds into the right in front of the high pressure pump. And so I disconnected this temperature sensor for the turbo right here. I unplugged that and got that out of the way too. And on the passenger side, which includes cylinders 1, 3, 5, and 7, I disconnected this intake elbow. Disconnected down here, just removed this whole thing, the whole intake elbow. Then I took off the intake elbow right here, this intake tube. I loosened up this so I could swing it back and forth. Then I removed the fuel primer bracket and the fuel filter bracket. I took that off, disconnected the fuel lines, had it completely removed. There's a bracket that holds a couple electrical connectors down here. I removed that. And I also removed the PCV hose that is down underneath right here. I disconnected that. So I had that disconnect on both sides. And I unbolted a bracket that sits way down underneath here. And bolted that bracket so I can move it around a little bit. And after that, I took the inner wheel fender out. And
what are you doing? Daddy!
I'm recording.
Oh.
And at that point I had pretty good access to the fuel injectors. They're sitting kind of down there ways. Now on this side, on bank 1, you need a crow's foot. 19 millimeter crow's foot and a 17 millimeter crow's foot to do the job. On the passenger side, on the driver's side, I mean, you can use just the 17 millimeter wrench and 19 millimeter wrench for the high pressure fuel lines going to the injectors. So I did this job to resolve error code P0087, and in order to finish the job, you have to program in your contribution codes into the truck computer, And to do that, I use the Zurich Z Pro tablet
There's my
diagnostic computer for the truck. Got that from Harbor Freight. It has the ability to program your injectors. So hopefully 14 hours of work fixes my P0087 code.